don't want to wake you. Since my gal is gone. The sun is rising. I'm never smiling. Don't want to wake you. Since my gal is gone. Since my gal is gone. Don't you these shadows fall.
Once sent my assistant to that cigar lounge to restock my heat, and I gave her a list of 6 different types of cigar to get. She came back with 7 boxes. I looked at the receipt, I was only charged for 6. So what happened is, a new employee at the
Slightly hungover. Slightly hungover.
22 years old. Yeah, I'm 22 years old.
Slightly
Make sure I taste the vodka.
Slightly hungover.
Alright, listen up. So look.
I'd be lying, baby, if I said it
This is the
wasn't
bigger-
true. Slightly hungover,
My Chick-fil-A. If there's something to buy at Chick-fil-A, take
maybe,
advantage of their real estate.
maybe slightly blue.
They've done. So in this area, in the suburbs of Atlanta, you had one Chick-fil-A already. I think that would my Chick-fil-A.
Slightly hungover, maybe slightly blue.
Bought it, I stole it. You think Starbucks sells them?
I've never had the blues, baby, before I met you.
Saddest night on my shore was the night
Slightly
from jail.
hungover,
I had to tell the kids. It wasn't like the movie they took me away.
slightly hungover, you.
My wife and I sat down with the kids on Thursday night and pulled the kids into the living room. They're like,
Slightly hungover,
my kids doesn't listen,
slightly hungover, you.
I didn't get even. As soon as I started getting close to it, my daughter starts bursting out.
You should
Hysterically
lie,
crying.
baby.
Yeah.
She just starts crying. She's about 40.
Someone
She
who
is
loves you.
terrible. She's up there.
And I do.
The kids are hugging me and it's like just the worst thing you can imagine.
Morning after,
Hey, the people at Discovery Channel came to
morning
me and asked me
after you.
to go undercover and show the world how fast
Whatever industry you pick, if you outwork everybody,
Morning
try to
after,
be smarter than everybody, if you try to be a better salesperson than everybody, you try to be a better prepared than everybody, you've got your best chance because if you don't do it, somebody else does. You know, I have the same work like someone's trying to take
won't
it
last
all the way.
forever.
I actually work like someone's taking 24 hours.
I'll
Work
be
24 hours.
over you.
That's kind of what I look at.
I'll be over you.
What's going on, y'all? Happy Money Making Monday. It's your up here. Tonight, man, we're keeping more business savvy, business focus. Let's get into
life ain't easy. It's a long, hard, rocky road. Oh, it's down, down, get down. It's survival of the fittest, so I'm told. No matter how you try, life is hard, then you die. trust, closest friend. Yeah, the devil wears a blue dress. Man, she gon' get you in the end. I can't count the tears I've cried. Life is hard, and then you die. Everybody's got their own cross to bear. Black or white, rich or poor, you know the blues is everywhere. So keep reaching for the sky. Life is hard, and then you die.
Oh, I should keep moving. was good, y'all. It was good. It was good. Let's get this drink popping. Let's get this shit started. What's going on, fellas? Ladies and gentlemen. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. Right now, it's Money Making Monday. Welcome to the live. So today I want to kind of drift away from relationship stuff. I know that's been taking the monumental toll on the brand lately. But I want to get more focus on what I'm truly about, and it's business. At the end of the day, this is all business shit. So today I want to get started on some of my favorite entrepreneurs, favorite platforms, and things of that nature, so that way you guys can get a better understanding on the way I think, but also this is to help you guys on your journey of building wealth. And I know a lot of you are in your building phase. So this is a great, I'm going to go through some shorts that are more business focused rather than just entertainment. And then as we go along with it, I will put in my 2 cents on things that are relevant to, is relevant to my journey as we continue moving forward. So I have Grant Cardone, some shorts from him. I have biggerpockets.com, some shorts from them. And both of them are both real estate based. And then I have a mindset video of one of my favorite entrepreneurs, and that is, what is his name? Not Grant Cardone, but Mark Cuban, who is one of the guys on Shark Tank. So we're going to start rolling. I'm going to make some clips out of these videos, put them on Instagram as well. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's get this shit popping, bro. All right, so the first one, we're going to start off with my boy Grant Cardone, one of my favorite entrepreneurs in the real estate game. I went to one of his concerts. It was like a concert. His event was the 10X Con, which was absolutely dope. I actually did a review on it a couple years back. But he has one every year. I think I'm gonna go to the one that he's having this year. I don't know who's his lineup for speakers, but anyway, we'll get to that later. Right now, let's get it popping. Let's see what Grant Cardone is putting out with his shorts.
Bought it. I stole it. I'm not living here. I'm not paying taxes here, bro. Elena and I walked down the beach, looked up, saw this house. I'm like, we need to buy that house. Now, I have this thing with real estate. When I feel something, like I know there's a deal. And so it took me 19 months. I bought this house. I think I stole it from a Russian oligarch. Had I waited another 15 days, I wouldn't have been able to buy the house.
All right, I'm going to skip this because shit like this, most of us aren't going to do. Walk down the beach and find like a beautiful mansion and purchase it. Not yet. So let's skip
I
on
want
this
my
one.
employees to stay broke. I don't want employees to sit with cash. Cash means Porsches. Porsches mean he's going to be in trouble. Every person I've ever seen work for me that does this stuff, before they get their investments right, they go buy junk, H belts, big watches, auto service, over at Live on the weekends. Steve, when you came to work for me, how much money were you making?
$3,000 a month.
You can't live on $3,000 a month in Miami. Every day we would tell them, you cannot live on $3,000 a month in Miami. And that's what you need to tell your people, folks. If you want your people all on the same page, how many like to have everybody highly motivated? Say yeah. How many like to have everybody around you really engaged? How many of you like to pay for the fuel in my plane for us to go someplace? But you can't! And that's a damn shame. That should be your goal. Hey, I want Grant to pick me up. Or you're going to pick me up in your plane. Like, think that big, folks. When you go to dinner, don't worry about, hey, guys, let's all throw the card in. Really? You should be fighting to pay for the bill. It's out there. It's not your money. It's this.
I mean, I don't know about you want your employees to stay broke. I don't fully grasp that concept. I do understand making sure that your employees are motivated, for sure. And I know most of you guys don't have employees, but if you look at it from a concept of your circle, like your team, I want everybody around me to be hungry. Like, you got to be willing to grind out and put in as much effort and dedication as me. Like, I want duplicates of me. Because I know if I get like 3-4 guys that have the same model, same mindset, and same ambition and relentlessness, dude, we can take over the world. Just give me 3 good guys and take over the world. So I agree with keeping people around you motivated, but this is why it's imperative that the people in your circle are solid. And I like to think that the guys I hang out with now are solid. I wouldn't be around them. We are all motivated. We're all really ambitious, and we all make shit happen. So, I mean, a lot of the times where you feel like you're stagnant or you're not moving forward because of whatever the reason is, 9 times out of 10 is because of the people you're hanging out with. Like, get your shit together, bro. You shouldn't be around, like, if you're gonna hang around 3 bum ass niggas, you're gonna be the 4th bum ass nigga. That's just how the way the world works. That's a formula you set up for yourself. So it's imperative that you get around people that are grinding, are of caliber. I like to think that if I hang around 5 millionaire, I'll just be the 6th millionaire. That's the mindset I had when I was coming up. Was like, I need to get around people that are on a higher level than I am, because I didn't like where I was at. So, but yeah, I agree with that mindset. It's funny because we went to Philly the other day, last weekend. We was at the restaurant, and everybody was like, "Yo, we all put in our cards." And honestly, I wanted to pay, but I was like, "Man, fuck all that." But I remember telling one of the guys, "I'm like, yo, listen, just pay it on one joint, and we all cash app you." But it would be great to have that mindset. So like, yo, no, I got it. Like, we all take. I've done that a couple times, but it's always great to set yourself up in a position financially where you can just say, "Yo, fuck it, I'll take care of the bill. I'll take care of the bill."
I want my employers to stay.
Warren Buffett does not buy stocks. Every company Warren Buffett has ever invested in, from Coca-Cola to Apple Computer, he was taking a major position in a company, not in a piece of paper. And all those companies have one thing in common. What do you think it is? Cash flow. He didn't invest in Apple Computer until their cash flow was so stable. He's a coward investor. He wants to buy real companies that have real assets and they cash flow. He wants a check every month. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. In my case, I'm going to work until I die, and my money will work after I die.
Yeah. So I am huge on this. Well, Warren Buffett has the money to just buy stocks in businesses or parts of businesses that are already cash flowing. This is why I'm huge in real estate. I love real estate because I like the concept of cash flow. I'm not going to buy real estate if there's no cash flow. This is one of the reasons why I never dibble and dabbled in stocks, bro. This shit don't make any sense to me. I like cash flow. I like something that I know if I physically put in an investment in, it's going to make me more money. This is why I strictly stick with real estate. So I'm heavy on that. Like, I like the mindset that, after I am gone, my real estate will still be able to take care of my family. That's the reason why I invested in it. Honestly, stocks is, I don't want to say it's stupid, but it's so volatile, and I feel like it's some imaginary shit that people invest in and they wish for their money to come back. Whereas real estate, I can go visit the property, see how it's doing. I can go check on it. I know it's going to appreciate. I know I can invest more in it. I get more out of it. Like, it's right there. It just makes sense. I don't know why people feel the need to go and, okay, the first thing I want to do is invest in stocks. No, I'm saving on my cash. I'm stacking up, and I'm buying me a piece of property, for sure. And if you're going to buy property, real estate, this is something we talked about in the podcast, and I actually got a clip coming out shortly, where if you're going to buy real estate, duplex and above. Don't go for single family. Unless you're trying to flip. I am a long-term holder. I like cash flow. So if I'm going to do real estate, I'm buying and holding properties that is duplex and aboves, not single. The reason why I don't do single, or I wouldn't do single, is because the simple fact that if you, let's say a market crash or whatever the case may be, like COVID happened, you're probably not going to get any rent money from that. But if you have a duplex, the chances are you have a higher chance of getting some rent from that. So if somebody's not paying in a single, you're not making any money. But in a duplex, somebody's not paying downstairs, but someone upstairs is paying, you're still making money. So I like to increase my odds of making money in cash flow every month. So this is why you do duplex and above, not a single. But again, I like real estate because it's cash flow. I don't like stocks because it's so volatile. And be honest with you, I don't even care to even learn about stocks because it doesn't make any sense to me, literally.
Who do you think's harder, CEO of a business or CEO of a city?
With all due respect, I think CEO of a city. And I'll tell you why. I have 500,000 shareholders. I have $1.5 billion company with 4,500 employees, 4 labor unions, and a lot of international issues that affect me. If an election in Brazil goes the wrong way, I have an influx of people who want to come here. If a hurricane comes, I don't control that. So many factors, I think, for a political CEO that are just outside of your control. Everything you do is high profile.
You're scrutinized every move you make.
I'll tell you a funny story about this morning. I was in an event and somebody said, you deal with stress really well. Get my blood drawn every so often, right? And my doctor told me I have very low cortisol levels, which indicates low stress. And he said, it's really weird. You're a political figure, you're running a big city. And I said, you know how hard it is for an alcoholic to get drunk?
Wow.
In other words, you know how hard it is somebody who is constantly in stress to be stressed because you either develop calluses and you develop sort of coping mechanisms or you don't survive.
Yeah,
If I made $400,000 a year,
it's funny. I just talked to my buddy earlier about he wants to become mayor, and I said I would never be a politician. That's not in the cards for me. I'm gonna say that. Hopefully, I don't regret saying that, but I would never be a politician. I have too many ex-girlfriends.
I would be embarrassed with myself as a husband, a father, basically as a human being. You guys haven't done the math because you cannot live on $400,000 a year. And if you think you can live on $400,000 a year, I might have to go back and add number 1. Nothing. Anybody can make $400,000 a year. All you got to do is show up. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. You guys don't need to agree with me. I've already been paid my fee. I am not here to satisfy you. I don't care if you like me or not, man. I want to move a handful of people in the room to go from $400,000 a year to start thinking about how do I make $4 million? Big boy right over here. What'd you make last year? 2.7. How does anybody live on $2.7 million a year? My plane eats $2.7 million a year. This dude needs to think different. He's running out of time, man. You guys all in the room, man. You're running out.
Well, just don't get a fucking plane. That's kind of simple.
What's the revenue from the last tour?
Probably did 100+ million.
Can't do 100 million just telling jokes. You got to own the show.
The business and touring is one that I control. So if I do a building, I don't need to get fronted. I don't need a promoter to basically ensure the event. So I take 95% of the door. I'm also my own marketer. I'm my own team. So your revenue grows because your enterprise is ran by you and the people that you put in the position to control and evolve. So my friends that you look at as just regular guys are now businessmen that help me run the enterprise that I now have. So that ridiculous number that you're looking at is one that we're proud of because it's a testament to the hard work and dedication that they put into me and that I put into the craft as well.
See, I love that mindset that you own the arena. Influence is the new currency. Kevin understands that. The simple fact that he decided that I am not just going to be on stage telling jokes and get paid for the jokes that I tell, but I'm also going to control the flow that comes in. I'm going to make money off everybody that sits down in these seats. I'm going to make money off the marketing. It just goes down the ladder with Kevin. Very smart businessman. I'd rather own the arena than just be a player on the team. And that's a mindset you gotta adapt to. It's funny because when I was playing football, I remember saying that on the field that there was a time when I was playing on the team and I was looking around. I remember the owner came down on the field and he was talking to the players and whatnot. And I was like, I'd rather be the owner. I had to switch. I was like, I'd rather be the owner of a team than a fucking player. I'd literally rather own the team rather than play on it.
As well.
What's the revenue from the last tour? What they're going to do now is they're going to flip this, so Dave's going to make the sale, and he becomes the customer.
Hey, Steve. Dave here at Grant Cardone's office. I'll be real quick with it. Grant asked Lee to reach out to you. He's got a tool he created that increases sales by 40%. You have 2 minutes?
Yeah, not right now, Dave, but we're all good.
I knew you were good before I called you, man. We only do business with people that are good. I tell you what, give me 30 seconds.
Why don't you just email me something? Maybe we'll take a look next week.
Done. What's your email?
Cardone.com.
I'm going to send that right over to you. Now, what do I need to put in there that would actually get your attention? What are your people are working on right now?
Well, I mean, we're always working on everything.
If there was one thing right now that just gives you a headache with your sales team,
Probably follow up.
why do you say follow up?
They don't do it.
You got 10 sales guys?
Yeah.
What's one deal worth to your company?
$30,000.
Man, that's $300,000 a month. That's over $3 million a year.
You guys got to understand, Dave couldn't even multiply when he came.
That was actually really good. All right, but skip out of here. Let's go more into real estate. This is biggerpockets.com. Like I mentioned before, I listen to their podcast, phenomenal podcast, especially when you get into real estate. If you are a rookie in real estate, they have a section for you. If you are somebody who is well seasoned in real estate, they have a section for you. Like Bigger Pockets is phenomenal. When I'm just driving the car, I like listening to them.
My Chick-fil-A rule. If there's something by a Chick-fil-A,
I think that
my Chick-fil-A rule. If there's something by a Chick-fil-A, I will take advantage of their real estate team and all the research that they've done. So in this area, in the suburbs of Orlando, you had one Chick-fil-A originally, and over the years, there's grown to be about 3
That's smart as
Chick-fil-A's.
hell.
I realize I can leverage someone else's expertise, and their real estate team
That's smart.
probably has so much more time than I do.
Correct.
So if I can latch on to that experience and buy around those areas, it's going to help me out in the long term.
I never thought about that. That's actually really smart. Because you know how much traffic freaking they bring. Chick-fil-A brings in like a tremendous amount of traffic. So you already know the value of whatever location that they're in is going to go up tremendously. That's a great point. I never really thought about that.
I think that what's critical here is knowing that the world is coming from us, not at us.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
I'll say that again because it's really powerful for the listeners. The world's coming from you, not at you. So if all I'm doing is responding and I feel like this whole world is coming at me, then I got a problem because I'm reacting. What I want to do is I want to realize that I can plant the seeds. It's coming from me.
I don't know. I don't know.
What's the freedom that you're after through the FIRE movement in real estate?
The why was freedom, like simply freedom of choice, freedom to not be stressed about money or how much money I needed or had. So it was just freedom across the board to wake up each day and decide what I wanted to do with my time.
Do you feel like you're there? Do you have it? Have you reached it or are you working on it?
No, I do. Thanks to real estate investing, I've hit my version of FIRE, and I do feel free. I'm very anti-alarm. When I wake up, I have to wake up naturally, and then I just choose what I'm gonna do for it.
And that's one of the reasons why when I was starting in real estate, I was like, what is the number one thing that's going to bring me the freedom that I desire? And I already knew a lot of my favorite entrepreneurs got in real estate. It just made so much sense to me. It was like, okay, if I wanted to make a move, that's going to give me the freedom that I desire, and I can say whatever I want to say, when I want to say it, wake up when I want to wake up, do whatever the hell I want to do. Real estate was the only thing that was going to give me that type of satisfaction. Now, I've built, I've built businesses and whatever the case may be, and I thought that was going to be my gateway to freedom, but technically it kind of was, but when I was in a service business, I ended up having more bosses than I wanted, right? Because I had in the media production industry, we was delivering content for a lot of these companies, and bro, that shit was killing me. Like, it was like I had 100 bosses calling me every day. Hey, how's the content? Hey, I need you to change this. Hey, when you guys gonna come film X, Y, and Z? It was just like a major headache. So I wanted to get in something that I was literally my own boss. Like, okay, what is something that I can do that's gonna give me the freedom to maximize my time the way I wanted to maximize my time? And the only thing I can honestly think about at the time was real estate, which was the most valid thing to do. Get into investing. So that's exactly what I did.
That day.
We don't expect supply to drop. We do expect the rate of supply increases to slow. So we're at about 25% supply growth. What kind of scares me is that it hasn't peaked yet. So we look at it each month.
Yeah, had I known that back then, I would have said, it doesn't matter what it's worth in 4 years because I'm looking at a 20-year deal. What's it worth in 20 years? And for the last 100 years, property values double every 20 years. So I know it's going to be worth double. Whatever I pay now in 20 years, it's worth double.
Yeah, real estate is a long-term game. I played a long-term game. I like that if you invest in real estate, you can just let it sit. I don't care if that shit sits and you don't do anything to it. It still will appreciate over time. You don't want to do that, but you can. So I like the simple fact that you can invest in something and then it will be more valuable. that's why I prefer real estate over stocks. But yeah, what he said, you invest in it and it doubles up. Like, bro, like it makes no sense. I like cash flow. It depends on who you are and what you like. I love cash flow. So if I'm going to invest in something, I'm going to invest in something because it's going to give me money back. I'm not going to invest in anything that's not going to bring me any profit. I like to take risk, but every risk that I take is calculated when it comes to business. Relationships, I kind of fucked that up a lot.
I look at it as each year and every building that I buy or invest in is like a wine. And it's almost like you see all these vintages of the different eras, and those vintages are tied to. It's so fascinating when you look at them from that lens. And then for me, especially when you began to see some of the compounding in the 1031 exchange from your basis standpoint, you really begin to see the snowball effect that can begin to happen if you play this game for 30 or 40 years versus trying to use it as how can I make money off of this and build my wealth quickly.
Oh god, I hate that transition at the end. It's just really annoying. But yeah, listen, everybody's saying the same thing. It's a long-term play. Like, bro, you're gonna invest in the real estate. You gotta understand it's a long-term game. Now, you can make money from real estate now, for sure. If you do it the right way. This is why I say go for a duplex and above. The higher you can go in the numbers in regards to doors, the better. You stay away from singles. If you want to play a long-term game, stay away from the singles. Go duplex and above. The higher the number, the better. The higher the number of doors, the better.
In this space.
I hate coupons. Like, I hate it.
Where we talk about strategies that work, people that built wealth, it's people that took a long-term perspective. The people that made money in real estate did it over 20 years, over 30 years. They played the long game. So stop zooming in on what's happening right now or how to get the perfect deal or waiting for the perfect market. And then 10 years go by and it never came and you lost hundreds of thousands of dollars that you could have made had you just found the best deal you could in the situation that you were in right there and then went and recapitalized so that you could do it again. Where we talk about strategies that work, people that built wealth, it's people that took a long-term perspective. The people that made money in real estate did it over 20 years, over 30.
Mortgage rates are going to drop next year, according to some experts. I know this sounds crazy, but there is some actual economic logic behind these projections. The basic thinking here is that we are going to enter a global recession next year, and that will cost investors from around...
Yeah, I'm hearing this a lot now. A lot of, smart businessmen and women are saying this, that this is the year we're going to hit a global recession. It's kind of terrifying if you're not set up correctly. Everybody knows. Well, maybe not everybody, but if you didn't, this is how people make money on recessions. They stack up their bread, they wait till the market crash, and then they buy low. Just like in stocks, they teach you to buy low, sell high. So it's imperative that you do stack your bread up so that way if the market does crash, everybody says it's inevitable that it's going to crash. I don't know when. They're projecting this year, whatever the case may be. If the market crash, you need to prepare yourself to buy low. This would be a great time to just start stacking your bread and then just buy as many properties as you can. Hold them shits, and then when the market gets back up, you can sell them again. Or you can just hold them. Which I prefer holding them. But if the market crashes and I get them, let's say the market crashes and I get 5 properties, I'll probably hold 3 and I'll sell 2. That's how I would do it.
Around the world to flock to the safety of U.S. Treasuries. With increased demand for U.S. Treasuries, prices go up for the bonds and yields fall. Remember that mortgage rates are more closely tied to the yield on a 10-year Treasury than they are to the Fed's target rate. So when bond yields fall, so do mortgage rates. So even though no one knows what's going to happen, it is feasible that mortgage rates fall in 2023 despite the Fed continuing to raise their target interest rate. But it comes with a recession. Let me know which way you think rates are heading in 2023 in the comments below, and make sure to
houses have the most leverage possible when they first go on the market, and then every day that they don't get a buyer, they slowly lose leverage. It's very rare you will ever find a house that's been on the market 100 days that's going to get an over asking price offer. But it's very likely if someone writes an offer 2 days in that they're going to get an over asking price offer. So let's keep restarting a new 48 hours by taking it completely off the market, waiting a predetermined period of time, and putting it back on the market. They're making it look like it's a new listing. For one, it gets rid of that timer that was counting, making it look like it's a house that nobody wants. For two, it hits all the buyers' email lists again as a new listing. And it also allows the listing agents to say, oh no, that offer's not nearly good enough. We've only been on the market 5 days. You're going to have to do better. Here's my advice to you. Who cares what the cumulative days on market or what the listing agent says? Write the offer. You're willing to pay for the house. Follow up with the agents to see if they're willing to take it and continue that follow-up. Eventually, when no one's buying this house, the sellers are going to take...
Oh, I really hate that sound. I don't know how that works. I gotta ask my guys. I'm pretty sure Noah and Jason would know, but I don't know in regards to like a market. If a house been on the market for so long, can you then pull it off and then recycle it back on, and then you can start from like pretty much zero again? Whereas you can list it high and then wait. I don't know how that works, but we'll see. Anyway, mindset. My boy Mark Cuban. This is a pretty old video, but I think the values that he preaches in this video is something worth watching or listening to. It's 10 minutes. I'll give my Q&As.
Whatever industry you pick, if you outwork everybody, if you...
Listen, this is the type of shit I will literally glue myself down and watch. Like, I needed something that was going to change my mindset. I knew watching sports was not going to help me. I knew that watching reality TV was not going to help me. I needed to watch something that was going to fuel me, get me going. So I would watch stuff like this all the time. Anything that would get me motivated, whether that's going to the gym, I would watch videos on like Chris Bumstead, who was more like recent, but I had other guys I would watch, like Kai Green and people of that nature. If I want to get motivated, if I wasn't feeling like all there, I would listen to Kobe Bryant speeches. Like it was so certain things that I would do, I would utilize to motivate me to push me to the next level. And Mark Cuban, or not even just Mark Cuban, anything that was like based upon this type of content, I would watch, I would listen to.
Try to be a little smarter than everybody. If you try to be a better salesperson than everybody, if you try to be better prepared than everybody, you've got your best chance. Because if you don't do it and somebody else does, you know, I have the saying, work like someone's trying to take it all away from you. You know, I actually work like someone's spending 24 hours, working 24 hours to take it all away from you. And that's kind of the way I look at it.
Billionaire advice. I'll take that.
What would you say is the number one reason why people fail?
Lack of brains, lack of effort.
Lack of brains, lack of effort.
Yeah, they don't do the work. They don't learn. You know, when you walk in the room, when you start a business and you start to talk about somebody, you're never in a vacuum with no competition. You know, unless you're just extremely lucky. And if there's going to be competition, that means somebody else knows your business as well as you do when you get started. And if you walk into a competitive environment and they still know more about the business than you do and more about your customers, you're going to lose. But most people don't consider that. They don't do the work. They don't learn more about their industry. They don't know even about their business. I mean, and so
yeah, it's valid. You know, I remember being getting started in media. I freestyled a lot. When people ask me, okay, what do you guys do? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, so we're a mass media production company, and we did blah, 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 and we, you know, create content for people. So I freestyle a lot. And then at some point, I was like, yo, Sean, you got to get this shit together. Because there's no way you're going to gain clients. Nobody's going to trust you if you don't know your business. I needed to know my business in and out. So when someone asked me at an event, I'm going to say, so can you tell me a little bit about your company? Like, we're a mass media production company that focus on content creation and brand development. One of the ways that we do so is we create content and we tailor it to your business. So I would just I had this spiel that would, you know, motivate my clients, and I would tailor it just a little bit to anyone who I was speaking to. So if they were in fashion, or if they were in sales, whatever the case may be, and I would tailor my speech to them. But I had a baseline understanding of my business first that I can give them, and then go into my spiel later. So, you know, understanding your business in and out was crucial. So if you're going to get into business, you better know that shit better than anybody else.
So you've got to put in the effort to know more about your industry than anybody else. And that's the brains part, and that's the effort part as well. Because look, if you're competing with me, you better know what you're doing, otherwise I'm gonna kick your ass. You know, and you're not gonna outwork me. And so, the combination is usually what kills businesses early on more than anything.
You could, within a 5-10 minute interview, say this dude's not going to make it as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, I can typically tell, right? I can tell by their passion. I can tell by their focus. I can tell by their preparation. There's a whole realm of things in any business. Here's the business you're in, and here's 1,000 things that influence whether or not you're going to be successful. Through my experience in businesses, I can put myself in his position and say, okay, here are 900 of the 1,000 things he has to be aware of, and then go through and ask. And by how many of those or her issues they've been able to address already, that kind of gives me a sense of how hard they're willing to work. And I can tell by the questions they ask me. So all I have to do is say, okay, what do you want to know? And, when they start saying, what should I do?
They ask you.
Yeah, and that's fine, right? And I want them to ask questions, but, people like to say, the only stupid questions are the ones you don't ask, and that's not right? Because the questions you ask tell whoever more about you than anything else you do. Because in particular, it tells me about your preparation. If you ask me questions about just basic things that you should have known and you should have down to science, that's going to disqualify you almost more than anything. If you're not always learning, to this minute, if I'm not continuously learning, if I'm not just absorbing as much as I can absorb, someone else is going to kick my ass, right? So you talk about paranoia. The greatest source of your paranoia should be knowledge. If someone else knows more than you do, and if you're not learning, if you don't know how to learn, if you don't have a thirst for learning and acquiring information, you're SOL.
And this is why I say it's so important to get around people that's like hungry. Because you stay around people that just go by emotion, bro. I'm telling you, you're not going to win. You're not. So the reason why I got into that I'm in the position that I'm in now is because of the simple fact that I hung around hungry people. And I'm not gonna lie, I had enough hunger for 10 people. I was fucking hungry. But I am ultra competitive. Like I like to compete. So, and I don't like losing. So those two things together, being hungry as hell and you refuse to lose, or you don't like losing, it's, that those two things are a recipe for success if you display them correctly.
Do you think there needs to be a healthy level of paranoia?
Oh, absolutely.
There needs to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always say, for every...
Another thing, sorry. I am paranoid as fuck when it comes to shit. I always think that there's somebody working harder than me. If I'm not doing it, there's somebody that's going to crush me. And so I do get paranoid too.
One of my businesses, I said, what would I do to kick my own ass? You're right. So whatever business you have, there's somebody trying to put you out of business. There's somebody trying to take a bite out of your business. And it's better for you to figure out how they're going to do it rather than they do it. And so, yeah, that's being paranoid. And so you have to be paranoid. You have to anticipate other people's next moves. And you can't ever, downplay the competition. I was at a business planning competition this morning at a college, and they were kind of being dismissive of the competition. And so you can't ever do that. They're out there trying to take you down, and they're not just going to sit still. And if you're good, really, really good, you're going to inspire them to work even harder, faster, better. And so you have to be, very self-aware of what you're good at and what other people are good at. And, a healthy dose of paranoia makes a big difference. Is very helpful.
Let's transition to a different subject with college. You went to IU, right? Now, you got a lot of people that say, forget about school. Drop out of school. They're idiots. So you think they're idiots. Tell me why.
If you're going to have and run a business, if you don't understand accounting, you're already behind the 8 ball.
Can't you hire a guy that knows how to
But then they still have to communicate to you. Your accountant might tell you you're profitable, but your cash is going down. Not understanding a breakdown. And when you...
I see, this is why I disagree with Mark Cuban on. It's not like you can't... I don't know when this video was put out, 2 years ago. You can learn anything now, right? And I feel like if you're really hungry as an individual, you're going to put in the work to learn what you need to learn in order to be successful. So accounting is something that the thing is, will you feel like it's a necessity to learn accounting? I don't know, depends. But if you do feel like it's a necessity, then you're going to take whatever means to learn accounting. So I disagree. I think that you can gain a lot of knowledge in today's market through different sources, not just YouTube, not just Google. There's plenty of sources that you can gain knowledge from. So I disagree with him on this one. But again, it's subjective.
Do you think you need college to learn that?
College, I would say the only benefit to college for me, well, one of the benefits for college that I gained from college was the ability to network. That was a major thing for me. I understood the concept of networking and how imperative it was to build a net worth.
Yeah, I think you do, right? Because it may not, for some people, look, if you're so self-motivated that you can take an online course in accounting and teach yourself everything, you're way ahead of the game anyways. But most people aren't. I don't care if you go to a community college and take accounting and spend $99 for the class. Just, spending the money forces you to be more obligated to do it. But accounting, finance, lesser extent marketing, sales that the school offers that. These are that's the language of business. And so while it's possible to teach yourself these things, and while it's possible to hire them, when you're starting your own company, you don't want to have to spend money hiring an accountant. Well, let me take that. If you've gone through all these classes, you don't have to hire a lawyer to incorporate, right? You can probably figure out yourself. And so your cost of opening up a business drops. But even more important than all that, that's the blocking and tackling. That's the language of business. The thing I learned at Indiana that was more important than anything else, I learned how to learn. And learning became far more important to me. Because the one certainty of business is that it's always going to be cheap.
Sell up. All right, so, yeah, I think that's... learning how to learn. That's a good one too. Never really thought about that one.
How does one entrepreneur increase the speed in areas that they can increase? There's certain things you can't control.
Speed in what way?
Speed of growing your business.
All right.
So how fast can I grow?
Yeah, it just depends. You've got to know your own skill set, right? And you've got to know how that fits within your company's life cycle. Some companies are slow grind, and you just have to understand that, and you've just got to bide your time until it starts to click, and then grow with it quickly. If you're trying to release a product that needs to be ubiquitous, you've got to go as fast as you can, and then
release a product, like a launch.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who say perfection is the enemy of profitability, right? And that doesn't mean you have to wait till it's a perfect product. It really just depends on what the product is. It, a barbershop, right? Is it an app? Is it a service? Is it a product? But the key is looking for the low-hanging fruit. What customers are willing to write you a check or commit to it? So that they're willing to integrate it into their daily lives or integrate it into their daily business. And so getting a commitment either through time or revenue is typically what I look for. And so if I can get a commitment, then I'm going to be able to learn. I'm going to see how they use it. Do they sustain usage? And then once I get the next one, hopefully it came a little bit faster than the first one. Then I can ask for referrals, and then the next one, and I just try to ramp it up. When I bought the Mavs, we had no season ticket holder base. And so literally it was a matter of just putting a list of former season ticket holders in a white pages back then, on my desk next to my phone and making phone calls.
You?
Yeah, me. Yeah, because if I'm not going to do it, how can I expect someone else to do it, right? So just get on the phone. Hey, this is Mark Cuban. I'm the new owner of the Dallas Mavericks. I'd like to invite you back for a game. It's not, though. This is my business.
But we can't get regular sales guys or something to make those calls once they get to a quarter. You're a guy that's a billion. You're making those calls.
But that's all, and that's fine and good, right? Because everybody's got their own goals, right? But still, I didn't want anybody at the Mavs to be able to say, well, he's not willing to do the work, right? There's, if I walk around, I'm picking up all the papers. I'm not saying go get that picked up. I'm like, okay, that's trash. I'm picking it up. But in terms of speed of growth, it's really, you got to get that first customer first. And then when you get that first, what did you learn? Reiterate, get that next customer. And then hopefully, as you learn more and more through the process, then the next one becomes buying fast.
So his biggest thing was just start. Like, go out there, put your shit out, put your product out there, and start working. And as you gain customers or clients, whatever the case may be, you then learn to cultivate your services or how you obtain clients or customers, and then you learn. You make it better for the next step, and better for the next one, and the next one. So I agree. You want to just start. I think a lot of times, people. I do this sometimes as well, as I overthink. And I want to be perfect. You can't be perfect. I'm starting this live, right? I only have this webcam, and as I grow, I'll get a camera to do a live, and my backgrounds will change. Like, I remember the first podcast I ever did to the podcast that I'm doing now. Like, things will slowly progress, but you have to be consistent. This is a preach to you too, Sean. You have to be consistent. But yeah, start, get it going.
Alluding to it earlier about entrepreneurs being born or built. And I think I knew I was wired to be excited about business. How or why, I don't know. But, and there's certain guys that have the genetics to jump out of the gym, right? There's certain guys, that, when they golf, they have the muscle memory and the discipline. Dirk Nowitzki may not be the most talented guy in the NBA, but his discipline and his focus to do what's necessary to be successful, he's willing to do, and combine it with being 7 feet tall and being skilled, it makes him an amazing basketball player. So it's understanding what your skill set is, finding the right place to use those skills, and then going for it. Will that make you $250,000? It depends if you pick the right industry. I started my first business when I was 12. I was buying and selling baseball cards, buying and selling stamps. Anything I could do to make money, I was hustling and trying to do. So I was into business, but I not so much where it was all my friends were into it with me, so they wouldn't know.
Baseball cards.
Yeah, baseball cards, you name it. I grew up in Pittsburgh. And so I would, probably even less than 12 years old, I would go out and buy a bunch of baseball cards that I collected, and I would say, okay, you're guaranteed to have a Pittsburgh Pirate in this package, and I would charge 3 times as much, and I'd set up on this park bench down in the park down in Scott Township where I grew up. And I learned.
Got it. All right, so anyway, that's it. Listen, if you want to develop yourself, I know a lot of you guys may have hit a low, or a lot of you guys are at a high place. Either way it goes, you can learn a lot from this. So when it comes to real estate, duplex and above, I like the real estate market because of the simple fact that I like cash flow. I prefer real estate over stocks because I like cash flow. I like taking calculated risks. That's like a big thing of mine. But also, mindset is imperative. I don't give a crap where you're at. It doesn't matter how low you've been. I've been at the lowest of lows. But the only thing that got me to where I'm at today is I had to adjust my mindset. Just that shift in mindset literally propelled me forward. I remember the day when I was, I'm not even going to get to that story. I get into that story later on. But literally, it's all it takes. If you're willing to just shift your mindset to a frequency that will allow you to be motivated and then be consistent and relentless, everything around you will start to change. Your friendships, your communication would change, friendships, and everything will change around you. The way you see life will change. And then you start making better decisions. You stop buying bullshit. You start hanging around people that aren't conducive to your bottom line. You start dating females that aren't helping you out, or you start dating men that aren't helping. So it's that shift in mindset. It's that willingness to say, fuck it, I'm going to grind out. I'm going to do what I have to do to make things happen. Because this is your life. Nobody is going to care if you fail. So you might as well just win. Do it for yourself. So anyway, I'm out of here. It was Money Making Monday. I appreciate you guys. This is your boy, Sean Mapp, and I'm tuning out. 1.